Alright, so today what we're going to demonstrate for you is a skin fade with a number 2 on top. We're going to do some beard work. We're also going to do some enhancing. I'm also going to go over how to properly do a black mask. So first things first, we're going to knock them down to the 2 on top. Eliminate all the bulk. Obviously it's already short. He was just here a couple weeks ago. So first things first, on every haircut that I do, I start at the top of the head. Eliminate the bulk. Alright, we're going to use the Wall Seniors. They have a high power motor. They cut through bulk crazy good. So when you're doing a number 1, number 2, number 3, anything on top, you want to make sure that it's a number 2. You want to make sure it's a number 3. You want to make sure it is that number. So one swipe over the head is not going to make it a number 2. One swipe over the head is not going to make it a number 3. You need to make sure you cover all directions of the hair. So now that we got them brought down to the 2 on top, and I made sure I went around the parietal ridge too at the same time, because we're going to be fading into this. So we know that this is a 2 up top. The next thing I need y'all to keep in mind is customer service. Make sure when you're bringing down bulk like that, the hair gets in their face. So you want to get all that annoying hair off your clients. Customer service. So now the next step is, since we're doing a skin fade, I set all my skin fades off with a 0. I don't do the trimmer. I used to do the trimmer. It's too hard of a line to get out. You're setting the line too low. So this is called soft setting. So we're going to start our guide, our skin fade with the 0. What I mean by setting the guideline with the 0, it's going to look like this. And because if I was doing a low drop fade, I go underneath the occipital bone. Low drops always drop below the bone. I'm going with a medium skin, so I'm going to keep it medium throughout his head. I am going to slightly drop it in the back. That just makes the fade look a little bit more cleaner. Gives it a little transition than just your regular high, tight skin fade. He's not going to war tomorrow, so we still want to add some style to this. At the same time, when I'm setting this line, I'm looking in my mirror to make sure that I'm keeping it even. This is a very crucial part to making sure that your fades are going to come out clean. This guideline right here sets the bar for your fades. None of this matters. I don't care how wanky this looks. This is what I care about. So we set our guideline, looking in the mirror, pretty even on point all the way around. Now I'm going to look at them in the mirror to make sure that each side is even. I noticed that one of these sides, I think it's this side, is higher. Slightly. Alright, so the way I normally fade is I fade each side and then I merge them in the back. Now, for anybody beginning, I recommend that you go around the whole head every single time until you get to that level where you can fade each side one at a time. Because here's what happens when you do one side and then go to the other side. One side is going to be higher and the other side is going to be lower, and then you got two different fades on one head. So now that I know that this is a 2 and this is a 0, I know that the one open is gonna fade right into this. So the next step that I'm going to do is put my one clip on. Put my one guard on, I'm gonna open it right up. And I'm gonna bring this up into that 2. The fade is already happening right now. So that you can see it, I am open. Because I brought the 2 all the way around and all the way around the ridge, we know that a 1.5 is going to blend right into that. Don't start curving into that 2. You want to come straight up. This is not going to change. This is not going to change. It's going to continue being a 1.5 all the way up the side of the head and blend right into the 2. Boom. Right into the 2. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to close it halfway. And every single stroke I'm going to come up under this line, because right now we want to start fading this line out. You're putting one line in the head and you're fading the one line out. This is the easiest way to fade. So we know this is a 2, 2.5. Now I'm 1 open halfway. So I'm working this transition right now. At the same time, I'm coming up under this line every time. Now your eyes are going to play tricks on you. So I always check the mirror. So the fade is happening. The fade is happening. I'm going to close this all the way. And I'm going to attack this line. Coming up under the line. Under the line. Under the line. Alright, now we're going to grab our 1/16 clip, which is our 0 guard. Open it up and do the same thing you just did with the 1. Come up under the line, under the line. We know this is a 2, we know this is a 1.5, we know this is a 1 halfway open, we know this is a 1. So now we know that we don't want to come up into this. Make sure you're controlling the clipper. I just closed my blade. I'm opening it a little bit halfway. Right now when I get into this part of the fade, I do play with the lever a little bit. But I still have the same mindset. I'm going in open, I'm going to close it, and now I'm going to play with it and fight that line out. By the time this is fully closed, this line should be very faint. So now that we pretty much have our whole fade done, we got this little line to take out, right? So we know that we set it with a 0. Now all we got to do is hit each notch, and that you're not supposed to blow on your clippers. Don't do that. But check this out. How am I looking? Can you see these notches here? Each notch is like the same thing on an Andis Master. So you can follow your fading. It's not totally a blind fade. These little notches are going to help you. So now that we were closed, or now that we were open, I'm going to go up 1 notch. And I'm going to hit this line. And I'm not using the full blade. I'm not using a full blade. I'm using a few teeth. This is called detailing. I'm going to go up up one notch. One more notch. Now that we've opened up the clipper and pretty much faded our whole thing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to now set my skin. So I'm going to use the Andes Slim lines and get rid of all this. I know that this was a 0, so I don't want to go up into that too much. You do have to go up into it to create that transition. When I do get up in there, I will go back to using a couple teeth. Make sure you guys are holding the ear down. I've seen too many ears almost get taken off because people don't have no common courtesy to hold the ear down. I've sat in so many chairs where people are just bang, bang, banging me in my ear. It's annoying. Don't do that shit. So because we're gonna fade his beard down, I'm gonna take off about that much, and then I'll start my fade when I get to that point. When you're in the shop, don't get stuck on one side of the head. Don't get stuck in one spot. Keep it moving and you can go back. Sometimes your eyes are going to play tricks on you and you're just going to get stuck in one spot. Don't get stuck in one spot. Keep it moving, because the client is then going to feel you in that one spot, and he's going to say, why is he still there? Why is he still there? What's going on? What's going on? Keep it moving. You can always go back to it. It's called finessing. So you can go back and finesse your fade after. Alright, so we faded the other side. Now what we're going to do is match them. Obviously this is our 2, and you can see, you know, it's a little different. When I look in the mirror, I see where I need to come up. Make it happen. Make it happen. So we know that this is a 2. So what are we going to do? We're going to take our one guard, open it up, and create that fade. So we're going to eliminate all this weight and work the blend right into that, because we know that we brought all this down to a 2. Again, I am attacking this line. I'm bringing this line down. We want to fade. We only want to fade one line. One line. Make your job easier. Stop putting 3 different lines to fade out when you don't have to. You only need to put one line. So now that we eliminated all this bulk and created that transition into the 2, we're going to close it halfway, and then again do the same process that we do on the side of the head. Nothing changes. Nothing changes. We're coming up under this line and bringing this line down. Now I'm going up. 2, 1.5. Now one halfway open. One closed. Tack the line. Don't be afraid to stretch your skin. Don't be afraid to touch your client. People pay for touch. Some pay for good touch, some pay for bad touch. We're in the good touch industry. Now, after we do the 1, we throw on the 0 guard. We're going to open it up. Again, we are coming up under this line. We know that this is a 2. We know that this is a 1.5. We know that this is one halfway open. We know that this is a 1. So we know that we need to just lighten up this area to create the transition. Again, we are coming under the line, coming under the line, coming under the line. At the same time we're creating the fade, we're fading this line out. Halfway. So now we're gonna finish our fade off using our adjustable. So we have a 0 line, we got a 2, 1.5, 1 halfway open, 1, and then our 0 guard to work that fade. Now we really only need to focus on this area. Get that line out. So I'm gonna open it up. Coming under this line every time. Close it, come under this line. Again, I'm watching the notches. All right, one more notch. This is what's going to keep you on track. When I'm using my guards, I'm closed, I'm halfway, and I'm open. Maybe playing in the middle of each one, but not really. The fade will happen closed, halfway, and all the way. Now, nobody's head is perfect. My man has a little indent right here. Now, the way that you can take that away and create that transition is by maybe lightening this up. Lighten up this area, okay? So then the dark spot is going to be lighter. Obviously, it's not going to be a 1 or a 0 guard. You might have to go a little bit lighter, but it's going to make appear that it's all the same. Nobody's head is perfect. We are going to create the illusion that there's no dent here. Sometimes you'll see people with a pack of hot dogs on the back of their neck. You can cut in between those hot dogs and it's going to create the illusion that it's all the same length when really it's lighter in here than on this roll. No disrespect. All right, so now that we got our fade, we're going to eliminate this. We know that this was our 0, so we know that we're not going to totally come up in that with our trimmers, but we're going to, at this point, we're going to push heavy, push heavy, push heavy, push heavy, eliminate all this. Eliminate all this. Eliminate all this. Right, so we can see that it's a little darker. And at this point, you're kind of flicking away, creating that blend. So now we're going to ball them out at the bottom of his fade. This is what gives a long-lasting skin fade when you bald it out. So obviously these push in. So at the lowest part of the bald fade, we're going to be pushing in. As we go up the head, we're going to lighten our pressure till it's all the way out, and you might have to flick out a little bit. That's how you're going to not put that line in. So right now, I'm making sure that we're really balding out the bottom. I'm pushing. As I get up into this, I'm going light. Lighter. That's what's going to create that longevity of a fade. Now we're going to start our transition on the beard. His density is not crazy full, so I'm going to play a little bit in this area to create that blend. Now, I probably won't hit every single line on the clipper. I won't hit every single guard. Right now, what I'm just going to be looking towards is a nice clean blend. So we know that this is a 0, or trimmer, 0. We know that this is a 0. I'm not too focused on every line. I'm just opening as I go down. I'm gonna put the one guard on, and I'm gonna go down against or with the grain, because that leaves a little bit more hair than going against the grain. So I'm gonna open it up and go a little bit against the grain in this area, just to lighten that up. Okay, so if you look at him from straight on, his beard's a little out of whack. So what I'm gonna do is just kind of shape it the way it is, without totally blowing it out and whatever, because this is how he rocks it a lot of the time. So I just want to go with the natural shape of it, the way he lives. Alright, so I like to use a 4 on the beards when taking down some of that bulk and some of that weight. I'll close it. And I won't press it right to the skin. I'll just kind of knock off those crazy hairs. Still keeps it dark and full. Go back a little bit. Right now what I'm looking at is this hang time and this line. So I want to just crisp that up. I'm not taking a lot from the bottom. I'm literally just touching it and shaping it up nice to give it a clean, crispy look. Same thing, I'm gonna come across the lip. All this hair that's over his lip, I'm gonna take that off. Approaching it from the side. Any mustache that I do. So I can see how that looks from the side. Then I'll go back in when I'm really razoring and tighten it up. So now at this point, I got them all pretty much squared up on the beard. Haircut's done. I know that I need to do his edge up and get his mustache ready. By the time I lay him back, the steamer's gonna be on and ready to go. So time management is everything. You need to keep thinking 2 steps ahead so that way you don't fall behind. So I just turn this on, I'm gonna line him up, I'm gonna lay him back. By the time I lay him back, the steam's gonna be going. I'm gonna shave him, and then we'll get into the black mask. So another thing that I do with every single client, I don't care if they got a bald head, whatever, I'm styling their hair. Everybody leaves my chair with a finished style. So right now I'm gonna start the style, and this is the best way that I get an edge up. So I work the sea salt spray in. Everybody I use my sea salt spray. I use this in beards, I use it in everything. So I'm gonna spray this in, I'm gonna blow dry the hair down. This is what's gonna create, so I know how much hair I got right here that I need to edge up. They call it an edge up because all the hair is brushed to the edge, okay? So you wanna brush all the hair to the edge. Anything that hangs over, you box that shit. So when I'm doing a lineup in the front, I always start at whatever side is naturally higher. Not everybody's thing is perfectly even. So if somebody's receding or somebody's got a higher side, I'm gonna start in the middle and go to that higher side and not push that too high. Because I know that I need to match this. So when I'm looking in the mirror, I'm looking for, okay, which side looks higher? So then I start in the middle, go to the high side, just tap, tap, tap. Because I know if I push this back, then I have to push this back to match. And then you're gonna have a whole 5 o'clock shadow on his front hairline. I'm J.Strives. This concludes our class for the day. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I hope y'all learned a bunch of stuff. And definitely share it, leave some feedback. Anything you want me to touch on for the next one, we can make it happen for you. Take a look at this cut. He's flossy, he's ready to go turn up on a Tuesday. He's going out tonight. Until next time.